The rejection happened weeks ago, but for Emily, it still felt like yesterday. Some wounds don't heal overnight. Some disappointments stay with you longer than expected. And every time she thought she was finally moving forward, something reminded her of what she had lost. A photo. A note in her journal. An old email. A goal she had once written down with excitement. Each reminder felt like reopening a wound that hadn't fully healed. There were mornings when she woke up feeling hopeful. She would tell herself that today would be different. Today she would stop thinking about the closed door. Today she would move forward. But by evening, she often found herself right back where she started. Questioning. Wondering. Hurting. One Saturday afternoon, Emily met her friend Sarah for coffee. Sarah had known her for years. She had seen the hard work, the sacrifices, the dedication, and she knew how deeply the rejection had affected her. After listening quietly for a while, Sarah finally asked, "Emily, can I ask you something?" Emily nodded. Sarah leaned forward. "What if your life isn't falling apart?" Emily frowned. "It definitely feels like it." Sarah smiled gently. "I know. But what if it only feels that way because your plan is falling apart?" The words caught Emily off guard. For a moment she didn't know how to respond. Because deep down, she knew there was a difference. The future she imagined was falling apart. But maybe her entire life wasn't. Maybe God was still working. Maybe the story wasn't over. Maybe she was simply standing between chapters. That conversation stayed with her for days. And slowly, she began noticing something. Her greatest pain wasn't only the closed door. It was the loss of control. She had spent years planning her future. Years believing she knew exactly how life should unfold. Now she was facing a reality she never expected. And it terrified her. Because uncertainty is uncomfortable. Human beings like predictable outcomes. We like knowing where we're going. We like understanding what comes next. But faith often requires walking without seeing the entire path. One evening, unable to sleep, Emily sat outside on her apartment balcony. The city lights stretched across the horizon. Cars moved through the darkness. People continued living their lives. Yet she felt completely alone. Tears filled her eyes. Not dramatic tears. Not loud tears. The quiet kind. The kind nobody sees. The kind that come when your heart is exhausted. Looking up at the night sky, she whispered, "God, I don't know what you're doing." The words barely left her lips. "I thought I understood the plan. I thought I knew where my life was going. Now I don't know anything." The silence that followed felt endless. Yet something inside her encouraged her to keep talking. So she did. For nearly an hour. She told God everything. The anger. The disappointment. The fear. The confusion. The frustration. Nothing was hidden. Nothing was filtered. And when she finished, something unexpected happened. The situation hadn't changed. The closed door was still closed. The future was still uncertain. Yet her heart felt lighter. Because she had finally stopped pretending to be strong. Sometimes healing begins the moment honesty begins. For months, Emily had been trying to act as though everything was fine. Trying to convince others. Trying to convince herself. But God wasn't asking her to pretend. He was asking her to trust Him. And trust begins with honesty. A few weeks later, Emily received an invitation from a former coworker. It was a small networking event. Normally she would have declined. She wasn't in the mood. She wasn't feeling confident. And she certainly wasn't excited about meeting new people. But after thinking about it for several days, she decided to go. That decision would become one of the most important decisions of her life. At the event, she met dozens of people. Most conversations were brief, forgettable, ordinary. Then she met an older woman named Rebecca. There was something different about her. A calmness, a confidence, a peace that seemed genuine. After talking for a while, Rebecca asked Emily what she was passionate about. The question surprised her. Because for months she had focused entirely on what she lost, not what still remained. For the first time in a long time, she began talking about things she loved. Things that excited her. Things that made her feel alive. Rebecca listened carefully. Then she smiled. "You know," she said, "sometimes God closes one door because we're staring so hard at it that we miss the 10 others He opened." Emily laughed softly. But the words stayed with her. Because she realized she had spent months staring at a closed door. Months focusing on rejection. Months replaying disappointment. Months mourning what didn't happen. Meanwhile, she had overlooked opportunities standing right in front of her. The next several months became a season of growth. Not external growth. Internal growth. Emily became more patient. More resilient. More aware of God's presence. She started reading again. Learning again. Dreaming again. Not because life was perfect, but because hope was returning. And hope changes everything. Hope doesn't instantly solve problems. Hope gives you the strength to keep moving despite them. One day, while reading through an old journal, Emily found something she had written years earlier. It was a prayer. A simple prayer. One sentence. "God, lead me to the purpose you created me for." She stared at those words for several minutes. Then tears filled her eyes again. Because suddenly she realized something. For years she had been asking God for purpose. But she had also been telling Him exactly how that purpose should look. Exactly which door should open. Exactly which path He should choose. Exactly how the story should unfold. Now she understood. Sometimes God answers the prayer but changes the path. Sometimes He fulfills the purpose without fulfilling the plan. Sometimes He gives you what you truly need instead of what you originally wanted. And looking back, Emily began to wonder if that closed door had never been the destination at all. Maybe it had simply been a sign pointing her somewhere else. Somewhere better. Somewhere she couldn't yet see. For the first time in a very long time, she smiled. Not because she had all the answers. Not because everything made sense. But because she finally believed God was still writing the story. And if God was still writing, then the best chapter might still be ahead. Before you leave, I want to ask you a simple question. Has there ever been a door in your life that closed and broke your heart? A dream that didn't happen? A relationship that ended? An opportunity that slipped away? Something you thought you couldn't live without? If that's you, I want you to do something right now. Type, "I trust God's plan," in the comments below. Let that be your declaration of faith today. And if you're currently waiting for God to open a new door in your life, type, "God is making a way." I would love to read your comment and pray for you. Also, if this message encouraged you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every week, we share faith-filled messages designed to strengthen your faith, renew your hope, and remind you that God is still working behind the scenes. And don't forget to share this video with someone who may be struggling through a season of disappointment right now. You never know who needs this reminder today. A closed door is not the end of your story. God may be redirecting you towards something greater than you ever imagined. Thank you for watching. God bless you. And remember, the door that closed was not your destiny. Your best chapter may still be ahead.